Hey everyone, I hope all of you had a wonderful week so far and welcome to Planet Zoo and Ozaru. So today we are only going to build one habitat, the Bengal tiger habitat, but it is a little bit special, especially to me because of what we have built for the habitat. But anyway, so on the note of like the Bengal tiger, it's a little bit funny because please do say it down below in the comments if I pronounce your name wrong, but both Natarin and Roy suggested the Bengal tiger, but by the time they suggested it, I had already decided like, yeah, I'm going to build the Bengal tiger as like the second to last habitat. So it was a little bit funny that both of you guys suggested it and I had actually already decided on that animal, so it's also a little bit weird because I completely forgot about the Bengal tiger and then I was just like, oh yeah, that's an Asian animal. Oh, I can actually use that. And then, you know, I went on and used it. But anyway, so yeah, in a way, I listened to you both, and also in a way, I completely ignored you. In a way. But Roy did give out like a list of Asian animals that could work for Ozaru, so this is the second to last habitat, but the last habitat is, well, it's right next to this habitat actually, and it is connected to the water. So Roy, you might have a little bit of a clue maybe which animal is going to be the last animal. If you do, don't tell it because I want to surprise everyone, but also I do have the mind of a squirrel, so it actually might change. So Roy, you actually maybe don't have any clue of what animal is going to be the last one. Yeah. I'm honest when I say like, oh, I have the mind of a squirrel, because that can change a lot, especially when it's this habitat, because when I was building this habitat, the idea that I had in mind just constantly changed. Like first I thought like, oh, you know, I want just a rock wall. I don't want to do anything more than that because the rock wall itself is going to be impressive. And then I just thought like, I need a little bit of like a centerpiece if it's like the second to last habitat. I want to make it special. So I wanted to make a waterfall. And then I just immediately thought like, you know, I don't want to build like a huge building. Foreshadowing to what I actually did build, but again, if you listened closely, I have the mind of a squirrel, so me not wanting to build a huge building usually goes into the opposite way. But I didn't want to build like a massive shelter. So what do? I built a massive shelter behind the waterfall. And it actually is usable by the Bengal tigers. I thought that like, because with the waterfall that we built for the elephant and rhino enclosure, like the elephants like to swim, but they completely go around the waterfall. So I thought like, oh, is there like actually like some kind of mechanic that animals will try to get away from the waterfalls because like maybe like currents and such? Well, like there is an opening in the waterfall so that the Bengal tigers can actually go into their shelter without, well, by going through the waterfall, and they can do that. However, the first time they tried, or at least the first time the first Bengal tiger tried, she briefly turned into Superman, because she jumps into the shelter. Okay, I can, you know, I can understand that because it's, you know, all that water, like it actually makes it realistic if she jumps into it because the current. But yeah, she basically jumped as high as the entire cliffside and then suddenly appeared in the shelter. It hasn't happened so far after that, but it was kind of funny to see just like, wait, where did the tiger go? And then of course I immediately paused the game because I thought like, oh, she has escaped. And that it was like she was glitching out or something. And then I see her just flying in the air. So yeah, it was a little bit fun to build the waterfall and just see how the tigers interacted with it. They really do actually like to stand like right underneath the waterfall. You already saw me place like some waterfall effects at like the rocks beneath, or like, well, not completely beneath, but just after the waterfall. That's just to add a little bit of realism because of course with the current, water is going to splash there and it's going to need some effects to make it look like it actually is splashing around there. Also quickly noting that we're building a barn just for another bit of shelter, though it is a little bit of like overkill, and I haven't actually seen the tigers use this shelter yet any time, so it's a little bit of like an overkill, but I just like to have it there. And yeah, and with overkill I mean like there are 2 Bengal tigers. They only live in like couples. Like if you have, well, probably if you have 2 Bengal tigers, or at least 2 male ones, you probably get a fight. If you have 2 female Bengal tigers, probably get a fight. I haven't tested it out because well, I was a little bit like, well, let's just say I didn't have enough conservation points, because my tapirs just, or topiars just stopped breeding. Yeah, my topiars were really just like the reason that I have conservation points in the first place. And actually, the conservation points that I have right now are from the elephant, because I have 2 male elephants, and again, like 2 male animals in one group usually ends up in fights. The only exception I have so far that hasn't gone into a fight with like 2 animals of like the same sex fighting is the lemurs. There are like 6 male lemurs in their habitat, and then like probably like 7, yeah, no, like there's 8 lemurs in total, and then there are like 4 male lemurs, but they all coexist peacefully. I don't know why. For some reason, lemurs are a lot more like happy with just having more competition. Anyway, so the barn isn't really special, so I'm not going to talk about that. I am, however, going to talk about the beta that is, well, close to ending. We only have 4 more days. After that, I don't have access to Planet Zoo, so when it comes to Planet Zoo content, I'm going to be pretty silent. I wanted to first say when it comes to my channel, I'm going to be a little bit silent, but we have Tianopolis going on, so, you know, I will still be alive. I will still be, well, working on my channel, but when it comes to Planet Zoo, because I don't feel like I'm the right person to make like update videos of like when animals or things are announced for Planet Zoo, because I think I've said this 4 times by now, but I'm the worst teacher. So if I wanted to make like an update video, I will again leave you with more questions than answers. I just like to ramble and basically give you like, well, I first thought of saying like comedy videos, but they are clearly not that. They are just like a madman talking into a mic. And for some reason you guys seem to enjoy that. For some reason that I still don't fully understand, but I am extremely grateful for, well, actually all the love that Ozaru and just all like the Planet Zoo content on my channel has gone so far. I know it's like really just, in a way, just boring of like people saying like, oh, I'm very happy and very like honored that you guys love the content so far, but I mean, it's true. I'm also slightly tearing up, but that might be just because I'm still battling the flu. Yeah. Anyway, I should probably talk again about the, well, what we're building, but what we are building is a little bit of the same that I've used on other parts of Ozaru, so yeah, I'm just going to go back into like just general Planet Zoo and Ozaru. So again, Planet Zoo, or at least the beta, is ending in 4 days, so I already said this is the second to last habitat, so hopefully by tomorrow I will have the last video of like building habitats on the channel, or like uploaded. And again, Roy, you might have an idea on what the last animal is going to be, but then also you might have no idea because mind of a squirrel here, so yeah. But I do plan to have like a tour of Ozaru, so, well, mostly because when the beta goes away, Ozaru might be completely gone. Like, I'm not going to lie, like, I might attempt to like in a way save the save file, but I have no clue if like if I save the save file, if I am even able to do that, if that would be compatible with Planet Zoo on full release, because it is a beta, it's a beta build, so, you know, it might not be compatible. I might not even be able to save the save file, so when the beta goes away, there's a high chance that Ozaru is just completely gone. I am completely okay with that, but I do want to give like closure to Ozaru, mostly because like just all the amounts of time that I've spent in Ozaru so far. Like in the short time that we have been building Ozaru, it has really become like a little bit of like my little baby. Like I know it's a video game, I shouldn't really be emotional or something or like feel attached to it, but you know, just with the amount of time that I and, well, in a way we have spent on Ozaru, I just want to give like closure. So I am thinking of like making a tour where I basically walk you through the entirety of Ozaru, so that even if Ozaru is just completely gone, then you still have like a video of like where you can see all of Ozaru. Even though you might want to mute me because I'm probably going to be a little bit like emotional there, because again it has slowly turned into my baby. And then my baby is just completely gone. Yeah. But anyway, so I am planning to do that. And I hope to then have that video out by like Monday or Tuesday. Probably Tuesday. So like the day that Planet Zoo is gone, we have like a closure to Ozaru. And I do know by now, or at least I believe that the staff areas of Ozaru, which are basically just 2 clusters of all those staff buildings, I'm probably not going to be able to finish. And I'm completely fine with that, because I already had in mind that like, alright, there are going to be areas that I'm not going to be able to finish. I mean, to get the rest of Ozaru up and running, I probably need to pull an all-nighter, because I want to complete the entire like river area. So yeah, there might be some things that aren't completely done, but then, you know, when I make the tour, I can probably just like try and skip around those parts of Ozaru and just show you like the good parts. Yeah, that sounds in a way a little bit weird, but I mean, there are good parts to Ozaru and then there are parts that are like, you know, not as shown. I completely actually got off track here, but what we are building, which sets Ozaru, well, basically set the stage for Ozaru, is an Himalayan monastery. I completely just started rambling and forgot what we were building, but this is basically what started off Ozaru. I saw a picture of like an Himalayan monastery. Really, it's like one of the first pictures that you see if you type in Himalayan temple or like Eastern Asian temple. But this really just started off Ozaru. This was like the picture where I just thought like, alright, I want to build this. Like this seems very interesting to build. And just, yeah, this basically started off Ozaru. Even though the rest of Ozaru doesn't look anything like this. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. Even though the roofs for some reason reminds me of like those, I think Bavarian or like just stereotypical German roofs, just because of the type of like decorations on them and just the overall shape. But yeah, these buildings or just this building just made me want to build Ozaru, or at least made me want to build in the Eastern Asian style. Again, I say Eastern Asian because it's just a mix mash of like every Eastern Asian architecture type that you can find. Like there's influences from Chinese, from Japanese, and also a little bit Himalayan. Mostly in this one monastery. Yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm also really happy that by this point I figured out all the pieces. I'm just going to be completely honest there. By this time I was really comfortable with the pieces, the building styles. The roofs were also a little bit easier because they don't have that like curve or slanted, and like it's a little bit surprising, but most of this temple was built at like 7 AM in the morning, and I'm not a morning person. Basically when it's morning I just turn into a grumpy old man. But yeah, I shouldn't build in the morning, but I'm surprised by how well this monastery turned out. Like the windows are actually like, you know, they are not just placed on the walls, they are actually like in the walls, like they are in the picture. Like, again, I'm just really proud of this monastery. It's non-functional at all. Like, it's just decor. But for some reason, I just thought like, alright, let's go all out. It's the second to last habitat. So I just wanted to build something that's like really special. That really just was like, alright, this is what made me want to build Ozaru. I should try and build it. And then I was amazed by how well it turned out. Like, I really love this monastery. And just like the color scheme and everything, like, I love every building in Ozaru. Like, I love all the pagoda, or the two sort of pagodas, even though the pagoda for the elephants is not usable by the elephants. But I love all of the buildings, but this one just has like a special place in my heart. And I do believe that this might be the best building in Ozaru so far. Well, not might be, I just believe that this is the best building in Ozaru so far. Like, when it comes to the roofs, it's nothing special, but just how everything at the end of this video comes together and really feels like, I don't know, like, you just, when you build something, like, sometimes you just have that, like, you know, almost like it's your baby, like, the entirety of Ozaru is my baby, but then you always have like your favorite one. Like, if you don't say that, or if you say like, oh, you know, I don't have a favorite, you're lying, usually. But this monastery is just, I don't know, I can gush about this all the day, or just, and I'm probably going to be gushing about this monastery all the time in the tour. I should try and stop myself there, but I'm probably not going to be able to. But anyway, so far the monastery has been like basically one wall that I've just copied and slightly changed on some places. So I wanted to create a little bit of variety. For some reason that word just never comes out of my mouth right. I know exactly how it's spelled and everything. And when I read it or something like that, I completely understand it. Like, it's not a hard word, but when I try to speak it, it just never comes out right. It always sounds like I'm a 5-year-old toddler trying to speak English. But yeah, just a little bit of like change in between the buildings, that there's like a little bit of like other types of building pieces to it. So that's why I built these terraces. One wooden one, the stone one that you saw before, and just change them. Just like this wooden one is basically the same building piece as the walls, but then changed in such a way that it also doesn't look anywhere like the other walls. Again, I'm so happy with this monastery, like how it turned out, how it interacts with the hill. Like, I'm really going to be gushing about this monastery for probably the entire tour. Just because of how well it turned out. Like, especially if you, like, I built this just so that it looks great in the background. But then later on I'm also doing like some detailing or just cluttering up the place just so that it looks lived in. And so first it was built just to be a background piece. Just like, you know, one of those facades that you, well, those fake facades that you might have for movies. And then I went, what I say is squirrel mode, where I just completely lose control of what I want to build and just completely forget time exists and just continue building. That's, this might also be the reason why we only built one habitat this episode, but I'm just going to say like, oh, you know, it's the second to last habitat, so, you know, I think I can give myself that. But yeah, it's just, I loved this, well, just building this entire monastery. I actually tried to also make it so that there's snow on the roofs of the monastery, and I thought like if you know, have like those coolers and then make the whole park snow, like it sticked to the roofs for longer than the rest of like the snow disappearing, but yeah, eventually it did went away, so I just removed all those coolers. So yeah, sadly there's no snow on the roofs, but I still believe it's great. Especially with those like towers. Like the towers is something I've taken from Tianopolis, where I just basically just, you know, I want height and like height differences to the building, but I don't want to make it like the building feels massive. So that's where a tower really comes in handy. Just to create that height difference. And also just taking the waterfall into the monastery. I fully believe that if this monastery was real, it would be like a tourism hotspot. Like this would be like, I don't know, like the Eiffel Tower of Ozaru. Just because it's in a unique location, or like a weird location. Like it's right on top of a cliff. It's, well, it has a waterfall going through it. And just like the unique architecture compared to the rest of Ozaru. And yeah, it's probably going to be like it's a monastery, so it actually should go against like the feeling of a monastery if it's like fully for tourism. But yeah, it's going to probably be like, if it was real, tourists would be flocking to this place. But again, I really just love it. Like everything just in a way, like at the beginning I was like really unsure, like, alright, is this going to work? Like, it's not functional at any point. Like, you know, I actually even tried to have like one of those like really like stereotypical, like well, not stereotypical, but like the first tree that you imagine when you think of like an Japanese garden or like Japanese monasteries, like those lotus petal trees, or like, let's just say those pink trees. I'm bad with names. Bad mostly with reminding names or just pronouncing them. Again, Notarin, if I pronounce your name wrong, please do tell me down below in the comments. Also, let's just get a speculation thing going. Like, what do you think is going to be the last animal of Ozaru? Because I have pretty much decided already what's going to be the last animal of Ozaru, but I want to hear your thoughts on it. Yeah. But anyway, so back to what we're building. It's basically, as I said, cluttering up the building, making it feel alive. I really like the Indian pots because they are basically, they can be used for so many things. Like I made some into flower pots just because they are just so versatile when used. And then just adding a lot of like clutter to the scene, just making it feel like the monastery is actually lived in. Later on you will see me place down lights as well. And they won't work because there's no electricity. And in a way I find that weird because they are oil lamps, so they shouldn't need electricity. But then that might be me looking too deep into it, and because, you know, in a way, like, it's still a game, so there are limitations and there are like these, you know, yeah, and just look too deep into that. But anyway, so again, I'm going to be gushing about this monastery forever, so I probably should try and stop myself, but I'm just so happy with how it turned out. Just the location and everything. Is this what it feels like to be like a proud parent? I'm really getting way too emotional over what is basically just a clutter of pixels. But I think I'm allowed to do that, especially with like how much time I spent on the monastery alone. So yeah, I do know that like it's probably because of the monastery that this video is actually late. So also, well, there's no Planet Coaster. Like, usually I would also upload Planet Coaster today, but that's also not going to work because, well, I wanted to build in Planet Zoo, and I thought I had more time, and now I don't, and then I just thought like, alright, let's go with Planet Zoo. I mean, we only have 4 more days, and I have all the time in the world with Planet Coaster, so yeah, scheduling, not my strongest suit. But yeah, I know this episode is a little bit later, but then again, it's also like the start of the weekend, so yeah. I mean, I hope I have made it up to you with this amazing monastery. I hope. Just, yeah, I'm also quickly just finishing up the rest of the habitat, because it is a habitat, so, you know, not all of it should go to the monastery. Like, the Bengal tigers play a minor part in this habitat. Still love the monastery. I'm never going to forget the monastery. I have 1,000 screenshots of the monastery. Still believe it's the best building in Ozaru so far. Might be the best building in Ozaru forever. I'm really going to be sad when Ozaru is just gone. But yeah, the rest of the habitat is basically just filling it with trees, making it feel like a little bit more foresty. And also, basically also finishing up the barn, or at least building like some like impromptu fence for the barn. You know, maybe the barn is for the monastery. I should really stop talking about this monastery, but I'm just so proud of it. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I just want to hear your guys' speculation on what's going to be the last animal of Ozaru. I'm not going to be building any I'm not going to build any small animals. So anyway, let me hear your thoughts on like what you think might be the last animal of Ozaru. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, I hope to see you back in the next one. Don't forget to hit the like button because it does help out. And I wish you all an amazing weekend. Bye bye.